Welcome to Let's Play World of Warcraft. This is Heroic Utgarde Keep. I'm your host, Particle Man, and we're just doing a little dancing to warm up before we go in here. Um, Basically, we're just running this through. We did this instance in a blazing about 12 minutes and 25 seconds, I believe, so you're going to see firsthand how quick you can do this with a good group. Now, I'm not tanking the way you probably should if you're just learning this, so if you're watching this as like a tutorial, I'll let you know what like boss fights do and mobs do, but as far as tanking, watching me, it's not the best idea unless you have we have really good people with us. But these guys, these both, I guess there's about 7 of them right here. You gotta be careful. I pulled them all, but I went ahead and popped Divine Shield or whatever, 50%, damage reduction, because I knew that they have a really nasty stun, and it'll stun you for like 4 seconds, which is a pretty ridiculous amount of time when you got 6 guys freaking hitting you. So just be aware of that. I didn't even get stunned that time, but just be aware of that because it can take you down quick, especially if you're not very geared. Now in this room you have a couple walls of fire, and what you basically have to do is, you just kill these guys, and as you kill them, the wall goes away. Or I guess it looks like as soon as you pull them, the wall goes away. And they do basically the same thing. And with our DPS, I just kind of hang in there for a second just to get them kind of all around me, and then I just take off. Because, technically, it's not like a bad way to do things because your DPS can kind of clear things up while you go and get aggro. Because if I have aggro on these guys before the DPS gets there, then that's just more damage they can do right off the bat. So it's not a bad strategy to do. You just got to make sure everybody knows you're doing it, because if the healer doesn't, or the DPS doesn't know what you're doing, they're just going to get really frustrated. Luckily, we have an awesome healer and really good DPS, so they're totally cool with running this fast, and so it works out really well. So when you go up here, there's going to be some pools that you can skip. Now, there's Dragon right to your left. We decided to skip him, and you can just pull these guys instead, just if you're trying to save time. The thing I don't like, I don't know if this guy does it. No, maybe not. They throw spears. I guess the humanoid, the Vrykles or whatever, in this area. Just kind of keep your eye on them because they'll start popping your DPS with spears, and it can be pretty deadly pretty quick if you don't watch them. Maybe stun them a little bit. Did I really pull this? All right, that's stupid. You don't need to pull this guy. I don't even know why I did that. I guess it helps so you can kind of strafe to the left a little bit more on this next pull. Because when we ran it the second time, the next day, we ended up pulling the guys in the middle. Now these guys can be tricky because your shield won't hit all 3 of them. So you can see that guy on the far left, I have really soft aggro on him. So just try to keep a taunt on them. It's hard to get them together because they want to keep on throwing spears instead of meleeing. But if you keep working your way around inch by inch, you can get them closer. This next group's got a shaman in it. Nothing too bad. He might. It's kind of annoying because they cast this spell on a random DPS that will absorb all damage, and so you start seeing a bunch of absorbs come up on a couple of these mobs, and it's just really annoying. There it is, right there. And now he doesn't take any damage. I think your hunters can dispel that off, and so can your mages. They can spell steal it, but it only lasts for 4 seconds. So it's kind of up to your party whether or not they want to actually get rid of that. Now you're on the boss fight the pool right before the boss fight, which is just 4 guys, which of course is a paladin. It's hard to get initial aggro because you got that 4th guy, and they're all separated, so you got to wait for them to get closer before you hit them with your shield. It's kind of a good strategy for that pool because they'll 2 or 3 shot your melee DPSers. One of them almost went down up there, but we got through it. Now this guy just spams Shadow Bolts the entire fight. I'm pretty sure he doesn't do any melee, so don't waste your Holy Shield. That's kind of pointless. But what he will do is there is going to be some undead. He has 4 minions that will run in right here to your left, and you just want to wait until they get all around you. Go ahead and use Holy Wrath and kill them all at the same spot, because if you have slow DPS, they'll rise again and just start going after everybody. But if they're in your Consecrate, then you'll be okay and they'll stick to you, which is what you want. Now he'll randomly cast Frost Tomb. He's doing it right here. He did it to me, but he'll randomly cast it on someone. You got to break that, or else, they're stuck in it. And if it's your healer or your tank, all of a sudden your tank's not going to have aggro anymore. So kind of be aware of that. Now, this whole hallway is all undead, so use that Holy Wrath. Wait till they get all around you. Go ahead and use that. It's probably your best time to use it. And I try to kind of pull these guys quick. It kind of sucks when your shield's on cooldown, you know. You have to start thinking of other ways of pulling, but just make sure if you're DPS, you're not AoEing right here until your tank gets some aggro, because the elite in all these groups, they're all non-elites except for one. He can take you down really quick. Also, these little guys are jumping. They're called Geists. Gotta keep those under control because they're worse than an elite mob if they hit a clothy. Like, they'll take him down so fast. They almost took down, I think, our healer, and he's a plate wearer. So if all three of those guys get one shot on a clothy, they'll probably die. So if you see those little dudes jumping around, make that your main priority, basically, because all the other stuff, it doesn't hit as hard as those little guys. Now here you're going to have a 4-pool. Well, this guy's a patrol, but I just tried to get them all at the same time. And wasted the shield, which was great, because it didn't hit hardly any. Well, it only hit one of them. And just be careful you don't go. And there's some more Geist. You see them hopping around right there in the middle of the screen. One of them got away, and I mean, that can really just devastate your party. So just make sure you get in with your Holy Wrath. If you're a warrior tank, try to get in your Shockwave. If you're a druid, you're pretty much screwed unless you got Challenging Roar off cooldown. So now this 4-pool, a lot of the time I like to pull them and then try to use line of sight here to gather them all up, because there's a couple ranged guys, and it's just always a pain to get that 4th ranged guy to stay with you. So just kind of be aware that, you know, line of sight really helps a lot. You should use it whenever possible. And there's also a patrol here on the stairs, a hunter and a wolf. And you can go ahead and take them out. They're, you know, really easy. I think I might even kill them with the next group. Nope, because we caught them on the stairs. Just a hint for paladins, if you want to make this really quick. When you go to the top of the stairs here, there's going to be 4 of them. It's really hard to get them all together, like I said, because there's no place really to line of sight them. So sometimes I'll just pop Divine Shield, 50% damage reduction, and just run right in the middle before the healer gets there. Kind of make them all go to you first, because it's really easy to lose aggro on that 4th guy. And once again, we got some Geists. Keep your eye on these little dudes. Usually, if the DPS will allow it, you know, I try to drop a Consecrate right there, and then go to the very end of this hall without hitting anybody else, and gather them all up and doing a Holy Wrath. Even if your hit points are really low, if you're the healer, don't freak out, because if you do it like I do it, then you'll use Holy Wrath at the very end, so it gives you 3 seconds to get a heal. Now, these 2 guys are kind of interesting. The guy on the right is a wizard, and he spams Shadow Bolts. The guy on the left hits really hard, and he randomly will charge people outside of a 5-yard range. He does a lot of damage when he charges, and if you get hit with a Shadow Bolt and then he charges at the same time, it's probably going to kill almost anybody that's a cloth wearer. Now, keep in mind also that once you kill either of these guys, that they're going to respawn as Ghost. The ghost of the melee guy will still charge, so just kind of know that they will come back to life. Also, the caster does take half damage from spells, so it's better to have your casters on the melee guy and your melee on the caster. That works the best. Now, we're almost done here. We got about 5 minutes left, looks like. Well, actually about 3 minutes left. And we're going to get a couple more pulls before the last boss fight on this video. Almost got it on 1, but since we didn't keep it under 11 minutes, it's going to have to be on 2 videos. And these is just a lot of the same. A lot of the trash in here is exactly the same, which is kind of nice, but it doesn't really make for a good video when I'm trying to explain what to do for each fight, because it's almost every single pull is just the same as the last. So I think we're going to get one more little melee scrap before the very end. And basically this is a good tutorial, but it's also a really good accomplishment that we did it this fast. We decided we were just going to try to knock this one out as quick as we could, and I think we did a pretty good job. I think it might cut off in the middle of this fight, so thanks for watching, and join me here for part 2, the last 3 minutes of this instance.